Hi everybody, I'm Sandy. I've got some more cremation beads to do. Kind of wearing as close to red, white, and blue as I can since Julianne's father was a veteran and I'm very honored to be able to do this for her. So I've got several in the kiln already that she's requested colors for. And right now I think I'm going to do a blue background one, kind of a dark blue transparent. And then I've got some gold adventurine chips with some dichroic glass mixed in with the ashes here on my workbench. So I've got it all kind of mixed, ready to go. I think these will look really pretty next to the dark blue. I'm not sure what's going on with Facebook today. Here Facebook was kind of down, so you may or may not be seeing this. And I'm not sure I'll be able to see the questions, but I'll go back afterwards and respond to them afterwards. You'll be able to view this and share it later on with everybody. So let's go ahead and get started. Gas on. I'm running soft glass 104 for those of you that do glass. I've got an oxygen concentrator with my miner torch. Oops. Didn't get my oxygen on. It thinks somebody's dying. Give it a second. I have a long hose, so it takes it a minute to realize. It's the same oxygen concentrator style that people use on oxygen, but I've got it hooked up to my torch here instead of having to carry the big bottles in. I've got a didymium lens here, and I've got one on the camera for you. And I think I'm set, ready to go. Let me go ahead and put some glasses on. Just a little bit magnification so I can see more detail. Alright, stainless steel mandrel. When I do cremation beads, I sanitize my workbench. I work with all stainless steel and then my graphite paddles. So everything gets sterilized before I start working and also afterwards, so that there's never any worry about contaminating the ashes that I'm using or the ashes that I return to you. So this is a new rod. Get it warmed up here. I'm going to start with just a very small tube bead, basically. Because ashes need to be encased, which means it has a layer of clear glass around it. The beads can get fairly big if your base starts big. And because this is transparent, it takes a little more heat than an opaque rod. I definitely can't see my pad with my glasses on here. So I'm just working this out into a nice narrow bead. I'm going to make sure that the ends are all nice and level. If you start bad, you're going to end bad. So if you take a little more time at the very beginning to get everything squared up, you'll have a better time. So for instance, at the top, nice and level. You don't want one side smaller or lower down than the other side. Okay, give myself a second to work on this other side. everybody's having a good weekend. I was ready for the weekend. We've had some snow and ice here this week, and I am a delivery driver, so I was ready to have the week behind me. Okay. Heat goes where, or the glass will flow where the heat is. So I'm going to build up this middle section here just a little bit. Oop, there's a bubble. Pop the bubble. See the bubble? We don't want bubbles in there. If you have problems with bubbles, if you're a glass artist, the air will rise. So if you see a bubble coming up, you just hold it so that the air will automatically rise up. It'll pop a lot faster for you. Okay, there's my base bead. And I take a little more time at the very beginning to make sure I get a nice base. Exactly the way I want it. Alrighty. Get my ashes ready down here. Now I got to get this bead hot. Wherever the bead is hot, you'll see it's turning red. And if it's not hot, the ashes won't stick to it. Make sure I get it nice and hot. Give it a roll through. And a second roll. Kind of like working with powder in the fact that it doesn't want to stick to the glass. Ashes don't want to stick to the glass. So you've got to kind of convince it to. And I've also been asked why it doesn't take very much. Well, again, it'd be like trying to get something to stick that isn't sticky to glass. So this is what we've got so far. Now it needs encased, so I've got a clear rod here, and this is where the patience comes in. So if I totally coated this with ashes, the other glass wouldn't want to stick to it, so I've got to leave some space for glass to stick to glass. Also, you'll see that I'm trying to keep the bead warm, and also I'm trying to degas some of those ashes. Ashes want to create bubbles, so if I get it too hot, I'll have a lot of bubbles coming up to the surface. Now here's where I want to go nice and slow and overlap the glass. So I'm kind of tilting it a little bit on one side, and I'm putting down a thin layer, and then the second time around coats that thin layer with another layer. And I'm only heating the clear glass rod, trying to keep the other one lower down in the flame so it's not getting hot. If I did get it hot, it would get soft and soupy, and it would flow and melt also, which is kind of a neat effect sometimes. And also if I rush this, it's going to trap air in there, and you'll see it as an airline. Okay, let's just shape that very, very, very gently, rolling that on my marver so that I'm getting that end nice and straight. Come back over here on the other end, get that warm again. So I've been out of the flame for a little bit. If I would leave it out of the flame, the glass would cool down too fast and break. Okay, So just kind of heating all of it again, nice and even. Give it a roll on my marver to round it up a little bit more. And I'm going to finish off this end. Get some bubbles here in my glass. I don't want the bubbles. I just pulled that off and threw it into a jar of water that I've got sitting there for my scraps. Alexa, play violin music. I don't need a commercial.
The station, classical violin, free on Amazon Music.
Vivaldi. Okay. So we've got the ashes, we've got the goldstone in there, we've got dichroic. It's still about 1600, 1700 degrees. So it's very, very hot. Let's square this end up a little bit more here. Okay. I want to be careful not to get the inside core hot, because that's when the ashes will want to create bubbles. And then you're fighting all these bubbles coming to the surface all the time. This one is behaving very well. Very few bubbles. He's a good man. Okay, very good. This one turned out really nice. So again, I've got a dark core transparent blue, which when it's hot it looks red. And then the ashes and dichroic and goldstone. And while I'm spinning it in front of your camera, I'm looking to see if I've got any low spots, which I do see some. The whole thing up, give it a roll on my marver. This is a graphite paddle and glass doesn't stick to it. So I can manipulate it a little bit without, it's a very slick surface. Okay. Again, I'm just looking at the surface reflection to make sure that the bead is nice and round all the way around. That the ends are tapered nice on each end and that they're level. Running along my graphite paddle. I don't know if you can see that, but very, very softly. Yeah, it's pretty. That ended up very pretty. And it's still really hot, so it'll deepen in color a little bit. Kind of see the dichroic in there maybe a little bit. Doesn't show up on camera very well. Alright, and into the kiln. I anneal all of my beads. You can literally drop them on concrete and they shouldn't break. Shouldn't break. 99% of the time they won't. It goes into the kiln until I get the whole batch done, and then I'll set it to slowly over 8 hours time slow down, and it lets all those molecules bond together and makes it strong. And everybody should do that. Everybody should anneal their beads and sculptures and everything. So if you have any questions, post it down below there. I've got a couple more. I'm going to do some mixing of some red and blue, I think, and probably throw some goldstone and dichroic in it for a red, white, and blue bead next. So give me a second to get all that set up. Actually, I think I can just add it to what I've got here. Red. Cobalt It'll be a nice mix, and then the ashes can be the white. Okay, mixed up so that's nice and variegated. All right. Oops. I'm gonna go in the flame. So here's a red, white, and blue mix with some dichroic, some goldstone, and what color background should we do? Something everything's going to show up on. Maybe a cream. That would be a nice mix, maybe. Okay, let's see. This one. I don't know if that's dark enough. Got two extremes here, the dark blue and the white, that you want to be able to see through, or see all of it. I'm just going to do white. White's the softest glass. And you'll notice when white gets hot, glass will either go red or clear. So if you see a white bead with, or a clear bead with white dots, that's challenging because you're working clear on clear, but it's white on clear. Okay, just get my base bead built up here. This has a lot of reaction with the bead resist, so I'm getting lots of bubbles. So just pop those out. I'm going to go a little faster on this one. Just a nice base bead. So I get the center hot here. And again, this is white. It's the softest of all of them. You see that? So it's transparent. There you can see it cooling.
Hey
Cool.
guys, are you looking for incredible clothes at
I like working with white.
At Good Friends, we're obsessed with craftsmanship. From hand-picked fabrics and custom prints, expert tailoring, and quality construction. We're on a mission to design super precise fits with all the details you
Give it a
want.
roll.
Discover exceptionally soft shirts and chinos with a vintage feel. With all products we're tested,
Melt it
with
in.
great-looking pieces that work in real life. Every detail tells a story. Shop Good Friends exclusively at Amazon.
More rock, less squawk. With Amazon Music Unlimited, go ad-free while you tap into 50 million songs. Just ask, try Amazon Music Unlimited.
I think I'm going to do something special with this one. Melt it in. I'm Did like 3 rolls on it, so I've got a lot of glass and ashes picked up. Patriotic, Canon in D minor. I only know that because I've been playing it. Okay. I'm going to take my tungsten pick and I'm just going to roll it along here. Kind of mush it all up. What that's going to do is that's going to take those colors and it's going to swirl it. That would be nice. Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's get it shaped up again to a nice tube. Again, I'm just barely touching it on my marver there because I don't want to tear it loose off of there. Just want to gently shape it. So what we're going to have is we're going to have red and blue swirled with the ashes. It's hard to see right now, but it will be very pretty. And now to encase it, again nice and slow, and this also magnifies everything underneath there. So when the finished bead comes out, the clear glass actually amplifies everything on there. This is pretty. Kind of a modern twist to a red, white, and blue. Again, nice and slow as I encase it, and I'm only warming the clear rod. Most important thing here, slow and steady, blink and breathe. When you first start encasing, you want to rush through everything, and that's not the way to do it. You want to go slow, steady, keep a nice even heat. Don't forget to blink, and don't hold your breath. You gotta breathe. This one's gonna be cool. Also make sure you've got plenty of glass rod so that you don't run out halfway through and have to stop and grab a rod. Okay. And get back down here to this other end, get it warmed up again before I go back and finish this other one. And gently roll it on the marver to get it shaped. Any glass if it's not even. I like this. Actually, I think I might make this a bicone, kind of a diamond shape. It would be pretty on this one. To do that, I just gently angle it on my marver. Let's finish up this side here. Such an honor to do these. I absolutely, it's so awesome to make cremation beads for people. They're so special. Special for me. They're in my life forever at this point. They're family too now. There. This is where the fun starts, because you get the base done and then you start letting the bead tell you what it wants to be. This bead is telling me it wants to be a bicone. Up there a little bit more. Glass is really interesting because you can recycle it indefinitely. This bead could 1,000 years from now be melted down again and made into something else, which is really awesome. So any pop bottles or any type of glass can literally be recycled. I'm just going to take time to shape this a little bit. Let's see. Oh, no. It's okay. Let's get this just a level. You just take as much time as you want to working on a bead. I could literally work on this bead for 6 hours if I wanted to. So there we are so far. It's still hot, so it's hard to see all the colors. The colors will darken when it cools off in the kiln. But I'm thinking, let's put some blue caps on it. So I'm just going to get this warmed up, and I'm going to go around the top. A stripe of blue. That's going to be pretty. When it melts down, it'll actually give it dimension. It'll set the bead into the clear. Actually, it's a really cool effect. Add a little more. Keep the bottom warm. If I don't keep that warm, it's going to crack. The glass is going to cool down at too fast of a rate. And you'll notice I keep turning it so that it heats evenly all the time. So if you ever want to get into doing torch work or lamp working, sit there with a dowel stick or a chopstick or something and just sit there and turn it away from you. Just sit there holding it level, turning it away from you, watching TV, and that's the first thing to conquer when you're becoming a lamp work artist. To learn how to hold a stick and rotate it steady. So it's hard to see on there. Can't see it. Kind of caps it off, sets that white background down into it. I'm using a minor torch. Nothing fancy. I've got my scorpion sitting over there to do bigger marbles and hard glass. This is soft glass. This is 104. I love my minor torch. I really do. I've got the Carlisle CC up there, and it's on my shelf. And then I've also got a National 8M, and it's on my shelf also. Actually, I think I'm going to give that one to my son to start doing some glass work on. The National. Okay, let's do the bottom. Hey guys, hey guys. Making a cremation bead. He's a veteran, so this one's a red, white, and blue one. Oh, I love the way this one's turning out. This is going to be a special one. This is definitely a one of a kind. It's really hard because when I make beads for people or for myself, I'll sit there and it's like, oh, that's my favorite. No, this one's my favorite. No, I really like this one. And I end up can't decide which one my favorite one is. And it's my favorite thing to do too, is just do an assortment for people. And then watch their reactions, because it's like they have the same problem I have. It's like, oh, I like this one, this one's my favorite. No, maybe I like this one, this one's my favorite. At the end of the day, it's like, hey, y'all have to fight amongst yourselves on them, because I can't decide which one my favorite one is either. So this one's going to be pretty. I like this one a lot. I mean, I could shoot these out and probably have a dozen of them done in 4 or 5 hours, but to me, these are works of art. They're going to be heirlooms. They'll be with people forever, so I'd rather take the time and just really make them exactly what they should be. I figure pretty much about a half hour per bead. So in a day setting, I can get usually about 14 of them done, because they are encased. And yeah, I could, like I said, I could knock them out real fast, but that's not what this is about. This is about making something very special for somebody. I want them to be able to be proud to wear every single piece of art that I make, for a bead or a pendant or a car charm or something to hang on their mirror in their bedroom or whatever, and so I don't care if it takes me, all day to make one bead. It's what makes that special. Okay, now I think I'm going to do something else, because I just feel it. I've got a red one, red stringer. I'm just going to take and put some dots along. Melted in. Let's do the same on the bottom. I'm going to pull this chunk off here. Here, so they're nice and melted in. Dot, dot, dot. Dot, dot. Yeah, it does help if you say dot, dot, dot. Get those melted in. I'm spinning it faster because that distributes the heat a little faster and more evenly. And I think I'll melt these all the way in. Okay, I like that effect. By mashing them a little bit with the marver, it elongated them. Just a touch. I like that. So you're not just looking at... And if I would just roll one direction, it'd make a spiral. So you'll notice that if you notice, I kind of stopped on a couple of them and rolled them back and forth so that they would stay in one place. I didn't want to make a spiral around it. Do that again on this one. See that okay? So kind of rock it on each one. I don't want to move them, I just want to flatten them. I could literally use one of my favorite tools. Got this at Harbor Freight in one of those things, and I can literally move these dots if I wanted to. If I needed to shift them a little bit. I can use that. Oh, I'm liking it. Back and forth, so I'm not shifting the dots at all. This is cool. Okay, this is going to be one of my favorites. Say that now. Till my next one. Get that bottom flat. Cool down a little bit, but see it? Can see it? Oh, can't see the red in there. It's still too hot. Focus. I like it. Okay, into the kiln it goes. So let's see, it's almost 5. I started about 2 o'clock, 1:30, 2 o'clock. I've got 5 of them made. So I'm going to go take a little break and grab some lemon water and come back and hit some more. I've got about 14 of them to make. So if you have any questions or if you want to see something specific, just send me a little note on here and I'll see what I can do to help you out. I've got some purple ones to make yet. They've asked for some purple ones. I'll probably do a couple more red, white, and blue ones of different ones. So see you soon.